Hello everyone, and this is BioPhoenix here, and you're watching this on Xanadu Castle. So today we're going to be doing the end of the year special where I get to talk about all the books that I've read within 2024. And I gotta say, I read a lot of good stuff. At least stuff that I was really happy that I've read, because I didn't read a single bad book, or none of the books that I read I thought were bad. I think they were all good to really, really good. So, yeah, I'm really stoked about this. So, anyways, yes, this will just be the one talking about the novels. Of course, after this, I'll be doing one for all the manga series that I've read as well. But yeah, this is just going to be for the novel books. So, yep, let's just get right into it. So, the first book that I happened to read in 2024 was a pretty exciting one. And that was, Boy's Life by Robert McCammon, and yeah, this book was just incredible. Probably one of the best books I've ever read. So the fact that I started the year with this book is just insane. But yeah, no, I absolutely loved it. I thought it was just a really great coming-of-age story in the Deep South, kind of, what was it, Southern Gothic sort of thing. And yeah, it had a lot of mixture of different things. It was mystery, thriller, horror at times. Not too heavy on the horror, but there were definitely some parts that definitely did felt like a little bit horror, and definitely very dark and disturbing in some ways. But it was very, very good, and it was just very heartfelt, and yeah, it was very fun to read. It was also just, like I said, just very engaging the whole time. I absolutely loved it. I don't know what else more I can say about it other than saying it's amazing, because it really is. Like I said, it's definitely one of the best books that I've read. And the next book that I read was another absolute banger, and that happens to be Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. Now, this is the second book that I've ever read from him, and I gotta say, I'm really excited to be reading more of his stuff, because I really love it a lot so far, and yeah, this one was just really, really great. Unfortunately, I haven't got around to watching the TV live-action adaptation of this book, but I actually did read it before it came out, and yeah, I really loved it a lot. Very crazy, very, cool with the whole, going to different worlds, alternate universe kind of thing, and the characters are really great. Yeah, he does a really good job of writing characters, and also it's really fast-paced as well, with lots of cool settings and setups, and yeah, it was just it really felt like a Michael Crichton book, and I mean that in the best way. It's very similar to some aspects of the book Timeline, which is also one of my favorites. And the next one is one of my most anticipated books that I've always wanted to read ever since I was younger, and I finally did it. The fact that I actually read this book is just kind of amazing to me, because like I said, it was just one of those books I never thought I could ever get through, and I did. And that happens to be The Stand by Stephen King. Yes. This book was also just really freaking incredible. Really loved it a lot. I loved it from beginning till end. And yes, even though the book took me a long time to get through, it took me at least maybe a month and a half just to read through it, but it was worth it though. I loved the whole journey through it. There were so many different characters, and I actually really loved all of them. But of course, my favorites, to give you an idea, would be I like Nick. I thought he was great. I really like Tom. I thought he was very endearing. And then of course, Stu is also just a good guy character. good guy character. I don't know. It was just so stupid the way I described that, but no, it was just so great. And of course, even some of the villain characters were very interesting. Randall Flagg was great in this book, and very evil and dark and all that. And and of course, the whole journey with them trying to get from one city to the other was really cool. And yeah, like I said, I've seen the old miniseries that they did back in the day. I watched it as a kid, before I read the book, and I even thought that was really cool back then. But of course, reading it now as an adult and actually being able to experience it the way how it was originally written, obviously, yeah, it was just so great. And for a book that was really huge, it never, I felt like there was barely any slow-paced moments in it, which is kind of weird, because you'd think with a book like that, you would expect that it would take forever to get to the main point, but honestly, I felt like it moved pretty quickly, even though it took me a month and a half to read. But that's just me reading slow. That's not the book being slow, that's just me. But yeah, anyways, though, no, it was just so freaking great, and I'm happy, and I'm proud of myself that I actually was able to doing it. And the next one we got here happens to be Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. And this is a book that I found to be very interesting and very engaging to me. I thought it was good. It wasn't all-time favorite, but it was a good book. It was very interesting with its themes, and and talking about all when you're in a relationship, it will really make you think about all these crazy things. I'm not going to get too heavy into it there because I'm sure you all know what it's about. You know, about a guy and his wife, like his wife goes missing and he's trying to look for her, and then it turns out it's like a big mind fuck. That's like the best way I can say it without giving away too much. But yeah, like I said, it's very interesting in the way how it's like presented, and I enjoyed it. And next up we got is a fantasy book, and that happens to be Green Rider from Christine Burton. Or Britain? Yeah, I think it's Britain. Yeah. So I read this, and it was good. It was decent. I didn't absolutely fall in love with it, but I thought it definitely had some good stuff that I can appreciate about it. Like, you know, for those that don't know what it's about, because it's not the most well-known book ever, but it's a book about this girl who happens to run into a messenger guy, and he dies, and then he gives her the message to, you know, that she has to send this message to, like, the king, or else, like, you know, bad stuff might happen. So she's, like, constantly being tracked down by these other people that killed that guy, and yeah. And like I said, it was good. It definitely has a very good premise, and I think it starts out really, really good. I just think the middle part of the book, I felt like it kind of fell off a little bit once it kind of got to like the main objective, which is weird to say, but like I said, I didn't think it was bad. Like I thought it was good. Like the main character I liked, and there was a couple side characters that were all right, and I do like the whole the way how she writes the temperature. I thought was really well done. Like every time when the main character had to like camp outside and she had to like sleep out in like the wild, like whenever she was describing that kind of stuff, it was actually like really well done. I thought that was cool. Like I actually felt cold just from reading it. So that's definitely good. So yeah, like I said, not an all-time favorite book for me, but it was enjoyable in part. Alright, and next up we got is Lightning by Dean Koontz, and this is actually one of the first few books that I was introduced with him, with wanting to get into his stuff. And I finally read it this year, and I really enjoyed it a lot. In fact, I might even go out and say it might be my favorite book that I've read from him. Then again, I haven't read a lot from him, but all the ones that I have read, this is easily like my favorite. For that, I really like the main character a lot. All the main like situations that she goes through, I thought were interesting. And then of course the mysterious guy throughout the book. I'm not gonna like reveal like too much about it there because I thought it was an interesting surprise, and I really liked it. But I thought he was interesting. It was really cool. Lots of interesting situations with that. And then of course the parts towards the end were really thrilling and just really fun to read. Like this book was very fun, I think, and I do think Dean Koontz books tend to be like that. With at least how the ones I've read, like they've always been like fun like reads. Like even though they may not be like the most mind-blowing shit ever, they're at least very fun and they will keep you busy. And I never found them to be boring, but that's just me. But no, this one is definitely like top tier for me so far. Like it's gonna be pretty hard to top this one. Alright, as for the next two books, these ones I actually have reviewed on this channel, so I'm not gonna go too much into them there since you know, if you want to know what I think about them, I've done videos on them. And those are the Tetradome Run by Spencer Baum, and then there was The Devil of Nanking by Mo Hader. So yeah, those are the next two that I've read, and like I said in those videos, in case you just want to know like just basically what I thought about them, is that I enjoyed both of them. I thought they were both very good. Though, yeah, the Tetradome Run was basically kind of like a Running Man kind of thing, which I think is awesome because, you know, I love that kind of shit. And then the Devil of Nanking was an interesting one. It was like a historical horror. Like, it had to do with a historical event, and it had some, like, creepy, like disturbing moments in there, and it was very fascinating. It was definitely one that I wouldn't recommend to everyone, but if you are interested in that kind of stuff, it is definitely like worth it, I think. And as for the next book that I read, this one was also another massive book from Stephen King. Yes, I happen to read like two of his like biggest books, and that happens to be 11/22/63, and holy shit, this book was just amazing. Also, just like The Stand too, like I loved it like almost just as much. I honestly don't know which one I like more, to be honest. I think they're just both fantastic in sort of similar ways, but also some different things. But you know, they're both just so great. You can't go wrong with either of them. But yes, this book was just really, really fantastic. I'm sure you all know what it's about. You know, about a guy that happens to find a way to go back in time, but he can only go back as far as 1958, and then he has to like live there until 1963, and he tries to prevent the whole Kennedy assassination. It's very fascinating, and of course, you know, you get to see like the way how like people lived back then, and it was very good. Like I said, the character writing is just great. Even the romance stuff I thought was very, very good too. And I'm not a romance reader. Like, I don't give a fuck about that shit. But this was actually done very excellently. And yeah, like, I don't know what else to say about it without gushing about it for like 5 minutes. It was just so freaking good. As for the last novel that I read, yeah, this is like the last one. I know some people would be like, well, you didn't read that many books. It's like, well, I'm not a very fast reader, and plus on top of that too, I read like 2 like massive chonker books, so, you know, deal with it. Anyways, yeah, so the last book I read is a short one, and that happens to be, Piranesi by Suzanne Clark. So this is one that I actually found out about from Crizzy Books, and the way how he talked about it, I was like, that sounds very fascinating. I never knew this book was about that, and yeah, I need to read it, and I did. And I really liked it. I thought it was really cool. It was really fascinating, very fun. I definitely love the way how the settings were described. It was very very imaginative. I really loved the way how like everything's like kind of has that liminal space vibes where it's like lots of big long hallways with not a lot of things in them, but there's like pillars and then there's like windows that like lead to just like nature with like no disturbance or anything. Like I really loved that. I thought that was really cool. But the overall story itself is kind of hard to explain without giving away too much, but I thought it was interesting. I thought it was cool. Definitely a little mindfucky at times, but it was definitely the good kind of mindfucky. And yeah, it was really cool. And I have heard that they are making this into a movie, and I gotta say, they really need to nail that the way this book was described. They need to nail the visuals in this one, because if they don't get that visuals right, yeah, I don't know how well they're gonna do that. But either way, it's gonna be interesting. But still, I'm really glad I read this book, because like I said, this book was like not on my radar at all until I watched his video on it, and I was all like, yeah, this is good. This is very good. Alright, and that's all the books that I've read in 2024, and hopefully for 2025 I'll read more fantastic stuff, because like I said, that year was just full of bangers. Like I said, every single book in there I at least really liked. Like, none of them were bad, none of them were shit, none of them were mediocre. Like, they were all like at least good. And more better. So yeah, I was really glad about that. And of course, next year I got so many other books in my collection that I can't wait to get to. And hopefully I'll try to do more videos on them when I'm free and available. But anyways, with that being said, thanks for watching and commenting, and have yourselves a great day. And of course, share your own favorite books that you read throughout 2024.